So I'm Bill Bice. I'm here with my partner, Ken. Hey, Ken.
Hey Bill, how are you?
I'm awesome. Ready to do this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Little ILTACON preview. We're going to be talking about the new things we've done recently, the things that are right on the horizon. We are constantly making our products better. We have the wonderful benefit of working with so many firms that help us do exactly that because we listen to your feedback and we turn that into new capabilities and features. We're talking about invoices to cash. So what does that mean? Well, we think about it as a cash flow relay. You've got your time and billing system that does that part really well, tracking time, editing bills, finalizing those bills. Lots of time and investment in that. And then we have this last step where it tends to be either tons of manual steps, even with tools that help with this, disparate tools. This is the thing that we want to tackle. Why do we want to tackle it? This is an area just with increasing scrutiny because it's where we can have a direct impact on firms' cash flow and profitability. Firms have made a lot of investment in this area in recent time, adding a lot of staff. That's been the traditional way to solve the problem. There's a lot of expectation to continue to do that. I think this number is probably underrepresenting at 56% how many firms are going to do that. But what we really need is to take a holistic, integrated approach that applies workflows across the entire process. And that's what we're here to talk about. So if we take invoices to cash and blow that up into what makes that up? What is the end-to-end process for that? It starts with delivering your bills, customizing that by practice area, billing attorney, client matter, taking that and then applying to AR notices, which typically then have even more exceptions for how you deal with that, the additional sensitivity around that follow-up with your attorneys, building workflows around that so that we can automate that, compress the billing cycle, increase the amount of throughput that we have on the collections process, and then, of course, track everything that's happening in terms of the collections process. And then the very crucial last stage, which is make it really easy for your clients to pay, make it a more collaborative process. And what we've seen over and over again is that when we do that, we get paid faster. This whole process reduces write-offs, increases the realization rate. Ken, will you please jump in and show some software?
I will definitely do that. Give me 1 second. We should be there. Let me just get this screen out of the way and we're good to go. See that all right, Bill?
Looking good.
Okay, cool. So what we're going to look at today is we're going to track right along with what Bill was just talking about. So this is our product called BillingQ, and we'll explain the reasoning behind that here in just a second. But at a really broad stroke, this is a born in the cloud application that integrates directly with your billing system in order to help automate the delivery of bills, the delivery of AR notices, and then also make it super easy on your clients to pay you. So the way I like to start is let's just pretend we're going through a billing cycle as we normally would. We're ready to finalize bills in the billing system. What happens at that point? Well, based on how you've set BillQ up, we'll actually queue all of the bills up in something called My BillQ. What that's going to do is just show for this biller, or if you have some attorneys who participate in the process of sending out final bills, it could queue it up for them and their assistants, or just a biller within your billing group. But it will show you automatically as soon as you hit finalize all the bills that need to be sent out. So I can come through and one by one, if I chose to, come through and see the billing contact and the matter that it belongs to. Down below, I can see the email that's going to be sent. So I'm not creating an email and creating new text and deciding who it needs to go to and so forth. That's all automated for me. So it can go to multiple people. It can be designed to automatically copy somebody within the firm or blind copy somebody in the firm. And then everything from subject to the body are just different merge fields that you can use for data out of your billing system in order to build this email using a template. The templates in BillQ are unlimited and firm definable. So you get to come through and you get real clever with them, putting in math and different things like this. And then you can also come through and have the ability to have as many as you want. So if certain practice areas like to send their bills with certain language and others do not, or certain attorneys or whichever, not that you want to go to that level of granularity, but when you have to, in order to have them embrace automation, it's really good to be able to have that flexibility available. As I'm going through these, I can choose one of two things. If I have the security to do so, I can click send, or I can click deny, which just kind of puts it in a holding stage until we have a chance to make any changes that we think is necessary. Down below, you'll see the actual bill attachment, so I can pull that up directly from here. So basically, giving you all the information, hopefully at your fingertips, that you would need prior to making a decision whether or not to release this bill to the client. When we talk about sending the bill, we use or sit right on top of Outlook. So whoever you've defined that this bill needs to come from, whether it's somebody within billing, whether attorneys like it to come from their email address, as soon as this is sent, they can go to Outlook and it's in their sent items. We've seen that as be remove some huge barriers as to don't communicate to my clients without my knowledge, or at least I don't want to have to call accounting and see what you're talking to my folks about. So I can go to my sent items and Outlook and just have that readily available for me. If I don't want to go one by one and I spot check a few, I can just highlight those all at once. Once I click send, the billing group gets notification that those have been approved. It automatically tracks the audit to know who approved them and when those were sent out. And so it just provides a lot of visibility and collaboration into this kind of bill delivery process.
And there's a couple of things that I want to point out there that I think are really important. So your example here is there's one email with one bill, but you have complete control over that. So you could have a billing contact, whether it's a client or a payor that has multiple invoices, and they want them all grouped on one email. And you could have nine that go on one email and one that goes separately because that's how the client requests it. It's all those exceptions that are really difficult to deal with. And just to emphasize something you said, you have complete control over the email templates. You can create as many templates as you want. It's HTML editor. You can make them look like whatever you want. It's really great to have the workflows and the emails completely under your control.
And I always forget this part, Bill, but it says my bill queue, and what that means is this person over here to the right, Kelly Ward, that's who's logged in. And so based on who's logged in is going to control what matters they see, what bills they see, what functions they can actually do or perform. And it's not always because of security. Sometimes it's just for user experience. Like, what are the things that I need to look at when I come in here? If an attorney is helping send their bills out, then they might just see their bill queue and that's it. Maybe also their matters, but I'm not going through all the firm's information, of course. The other thing that's nice is when we queue these bills up. So for all of your different billers, we're queuing these up. You might want visibility into how that process is going. And so one of the things we've brought in is you can just come through and see everything that's pending, and that's not as helpful as maybe a dashboard view. So this is just going to show me everything that's sitting out there, how long it's been sitting out there, what the average per professional is. And these are just kind of some examples of data that might be relevant. So we can see in this instance, not to pick on Anthony, but that he could use a little help. So anybody that we give security to see this could come in and assist Anthony within his queue. Maybe he's just out of the office for a couple of days. So not only can you have my bill queue, which is a very personalized experience, but on the administration side, you get a more global view to see exactly what's going on as far as the bills that we finalized and how they're getting out of the firm. Um, Now, we believe in queues. Most of our clients use the queues in order to do that, just because it's kind of a staging area where you can go and do those things. If you have certain practice areas where that step isn't necessary, you just want to automatically send those out, We fully support that as well. So kind of get a mix of either or. And BillQ's really been built around the concept of exceptions because we work in law firms. And so most law firms that we've worked in have an exception here or there. It's not all standard. We don't do it all the same way. So the system really needs to be able to be flexible enough to handle that and flexible enough that doesn't require calling the vendor and having them code something or create something. The tools are just built directly into the system that enables the firm the power to be able to kind of control that process.
Yeah, a couple of questions as we're going. So the systems that we support, um, Aderant Sierra, 3E Cloud, ProLaw, a couple others that we're have early firms on. And a detailed question about deliverability, which is really crucial for getting your bills out. It's why Ken talks about the fact that we send them just the same way of any email that you send through Outlook. And so the question is, well, what happens to people who have Gmail addresses? And so if your clients are getting their emails from their attorney about the work that you're doing for them, then they're also going to get their bills because we're sending the bills and the follow-up for AR notices exactly the same way.
Yeah, so a lot of systems will send those from almost like a separate server that's impersonating your server, and it looks like it's coming from your firm, but it's not really coming from your firm. We don't do that. It literally comes from your firm just like any other email would. So as long as they're receiving your other emails, they're going to receive your bill emails. And the same thing's true of AR notices, which we'll talk about here in just a second. All right. Maybe that second has come. So we talked about BillQ, and I spent a lot of time on that so that we can see who it's going to and templates and all of those things. One of the reasons I like to spend time on that is because it makes my job a lot easier when we talk about AR notices. So the AR queue or AR notice queue would work exactly the same way. So sometimes bills are a little less sensitive from the standpoint of these are new bills, we're sending them out. There's not a lot of questions on them. Maybe sometimes there are. AR notice is kind of a different ball game, right? So you're gonna go to my client, tell them that they owe us money. I want to be, I want to participate in that process. Potentially, maybe you have the luxury of that not being the case. But so when we need to queue up all the AR notices, what we're going to do is based on whatever criteria you've defined, we're going to queue everything that should be sent and then either the collections folks or however that's working at your firm, they have the ability to come through, review exactly what's going to be said. If we need to make other, attach other attachments here, if we need to change the wording on this, um, all of this is templated, of course, as well. And then we can have different people that receive the AR notices versus the people that we send bills to. And then you'll notice a statement of account as well. What we've done in that instance is we actually apply and I'll show you in a second, but we apply a cover page or a statement of account showing all the outstanding bills with balances. And then we give a table of contents. And then after that, wherever your billing system stores those bills with balances, we're going to go grab it and assemble it all into one PDF. And that's exactly what this statement of account does. And like I said, I'll show you in just a second. So from here, I can send or deny. If I wanted to hold that and not send it out, you can also have, at the matter level, there's going to be defaults. So this doesn't automatically queue for every matter that's over 30 or 60 or whatever your criteria is. It's only going to queue for those matters that have the default workflow assigned. And if you have something marked as never automate this collections or AR, then it'll just have don't send and it won't appear in the list. Same thing's going to be true for the visibility. So you can come out and click on your dashboard and see all the AR notices that are waiting to be sent out, who's working on those, who might need some help, or which ones aren't getting sent. We're going to keep track of it if people are denying AR notices all the time. Might be an opportunity for learning. Might just be that we need to change the template or change the criteria in which these are generated. But again, they can either be queued up for you, or if you have the luxury of just sending them out automatically, then you can skip this step and they just automatically are delivered. The emails are delivered the exact same way as bills. So everything that we just went over, using Outlook, being in your sent items, the attorneys have the comfort of knowing if their client calls, they know exactly what they just said to them, or that somebody else said to them, and can pull up what their clients are looking at as well.
So something new we have here that I love is we're sending all these emails. Ton of your client communication is in response to those emails. We have one button profiling in Outlook to pull that back in.
So we started in activities. BillQ actually brings all of your billing data over and organizes it by matters and billing contacts. So if I'm looking at matters, and again, I'll just use the criteria of my matters, these are all just sample searches. And why they're samples is because you can edit them yourselves and you can make whichever one's private or global. So if there's one that makes sense for everybody in the firm and then there's one that only makes sense for me, I can just make that a private search of the way that I like to see things. I could go search by attorney. I can search by bill number. I can just go look at all of my matters that our clients are interacting with the links that we're sending. So if I'm wanting to see that, and then to Bill's point, all this activity is automatically kept for you within the activity of the matter. So this would show up both at the billing contact level, so it rolls up, and then also at the matter level. So anything that's occurred, whether it's us entering a note in, us, sending out an AR notice or the initial bill, you can come in and filter all that activity for just simply what you want to see, and extremely helpful. So if I'm on the phone with a client and Anchor Holdings says, "Hey, I would pay you if I just had a copy of the bill," we kind of get to the bottom of that excuse real quickly. You just hit this menu. You could send a client level or a matter level AR notice. As soon as you do that, it's going to automatically default the workflow, choose who it needs to go to, so you don't have to remember any of those things. Pull the correct template that's been approved when we communicate with this client, and once I hit send, that's when that statement of account will get generated. And so, if you want to see what that looks like, um, I could just pull this up, and just that quickly, with the click of a button, if you will, it went out and assembled this statement of account showing any invoice that matches the criteria that we've said, so minimum balances and so forth, table of contents that allows me to quickly get to the detail of the bills. And so it brings over every bill with an outstanding balance. And our clients have found that that's super helpful versus just sending, "Here's what you owe us." Having the detail attached every single time really helps eliminate some of those further questions and potentially excuses.
And those bills that you're seeing there are directly from the financial management system. We have a question of do we support DocuDraft for 3E, which we absolutely do. And so we're pulling that directly out of 3E or Aderant or whatever your FMS is.
Good stuff. So we've delivered bills at this point, or we've queued them up to be delivered. We've queued up AR notices, and we've talked about the automations around that. The last piece of invoices to cash is making it really easy for your clients to pay you. And so how we do that is you put links into your AR notices, you put links into your bills. The links guide the clients to their portal. So when a client receives that bill and they go out to pay it, what's going to occur is it takes them to their specific payment portal. And why that's important is because we know who they are. So when they go to pay you, they're not putting in, "Hey, here's my name, here's what I assume my account number is, this is my matter number. And by the way, I'm going to re-input the same method of payment as I did last month because your system's not remembering it for you." We just take a completely different approach. So when they come into their portal, it'll have a brief instruction of what we're doing here. You'll see a detailed statement of account. This was just kind of electronic versus just being in a PDF alone. You'll notice that you can download any of these things if those links are available. And then, as we talked about earlier, link tracking, if I click on, or rather, if the client clicks on that link, they can come through. Let me find one that exists here. I might have just made my viewer too small. There we go. Um,
I think
I,
it's
yeah, I won't worry about that right at the moment. It's a much bigger viewer that you can go through unless you have bionic vision, but they can come through and actually see the actual detail of the bill as you're going throughout. The other thing that we're going to do is just maintain or do the math for them. So if they want to pay everything, that's really easy. If they still have questions on these two bills, they can simply uncheck them. It'll come up with what that would equate to in order to pay us. And then down below, once again, flexibility in which payment options we allow. So if you only take ACH or e-check or something of that nature, then for this client, it won't show a credit card option. If you only, so you have the ability to turn that on and off by client. So certain practice areas that might make sense. If we do accept both, they can come through and enter a new bank account. They can choose to save this for the future. They can enter the credit card that they've used in the past. They just highlight it and click process payment, at which time it does just that. So it processes the payment. That payment will be the next morning on the cash receipts report showing the payments that have been made. The client gets an automatic receipt of that payment as well. So it's just a much more complete experience for clients being able to pay the firm versus coming out and kind of filling out a blank slate each time.
And if you want to surcharge your clients, you can turn that on and you have that same kind of control at the client level of do I surcharge this client or not? So you can deal with states where you can't do that or manage that some clients you do it for and some you don't.
Yep, absolutely. You'll notice right next door to AR payments too, just real quickly is trust payments. We didn't really talk about this, but we can certainly get into it in more detail later. We also have a trust replenishment workflow. So if we're automatically communicating to clients that have a minimum balance requirement with us, we can send out those emails that show what they need to pay us in order to true that up. We're still going to remember who they are. We're going to remember their matter IDs. We're going to remember what their payment methods are. So the idea is if you make it easy on your clients to pay you, they typically pay more frequently and more often, and ultimately just get a better user experience, similar to what we might have outside of legal when we're going to pay bills.
It's amazing how well that works. So we have a question, Ken, about like what are the alternatives? And so how would you answer that?
So the alternatives to what we're looking at here today,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, usually it's multiple systems. Right? And those multiple systems typically have different ways of charging also, right? There's some good systems that do one of these, and there's systems that do different systems that do all of them, right? We've kind of taken an integrated approach, so trying to say that in cash should all be done in the same place in addition to collections activity. And so what usually happens is, okay, so these are all my PDF bills. That's great. And I've seen how you do that. What about my e-bills? Because, 40% of our billing is done through Bill Blast or EBH or something of that nature. And so you can manage that directly within here as well, which is kind of cool. So in addition to looking at all your collections detail, I can come through if I click the right thing and see all my e-bill status as well. So I shouldn't have to go to two separate systems. So this is just going to automatically bring that detail in, showing me everything that's pending and what's been paid and anything that there's errors on and so forth. So again, just integration. If I'm doing anything within the invoices to cash space, I should be able to go to one tool and one place to kind of handle that all. And that's the approach that we've taken. If that helps to answer, or if you want to add additional detail, Bill.
Yeah, I think that's the big differentiation is integrating it across the entire invoices to cash piece and having very deep integration with your billing system. And you should really like test what that truly means to have that integration. And
I'm going to
uh,
turn it back over to you, I think, Bill, with our 5 minutes going. And
yes, we're almost there. Let
I
me
know.
just got a couple of other things that I want to hit real quick, which this is the big picture of how we look at where you're at in your process. I think this is a really useful tool for evaluating the maturity of your collections model. and where it's possible for you to get to. And so our goal, purely through the tools and what we can do in the billing and the collections department, is to get to level 4. There's cultural issues that have to be tackled, and it's challenging to get to level 5. But we work with firms on a regular basis that are somewhere between 1 and 3, and we have an excellent track record of taking firms to level 4 and turning this into a managed process and creating the foundation where it's realistic for you to really turn this into a strategic part of the firm. There's huge advantages to doing this in terms of the time that's saved. The client experience is vastly improved. And then the ROI is very direct in terms of the amount of time that we save uh, in increasing cash flow and increasing the realization rate. So if you just kind of scale this for your size of firm and take every 10 million in annual billing and just look at what that means to you by pulling cash flow in, reducing your turnover for AR, uh, and 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 then we have some effect on WIP too by getting the bills out faster. But we're really focused on pulling that AR turnover down. And what we typically see is something in that 15 to 20, 21 day range. That has a significant impact on cash flow, and the ability to change by doing that, you reduce write-offs. That obviously increases your collected realization rate. That has just a direct impact on firm profitability. We do this with how many firms are we up to again?
It's around 75, I believe, at the moment. Most of those are live. They're obviously we're continuing to do active implementations, but I think signed up is around the 75 number.
So we're working with a number of firms. We have great feedback. We have a really solid implementation process for how we take you through this. It is it's a known, defined project, and it's not one of these black holes that you fall into. You get results early and often. We're really proud of creating more time within your accounting department than we take up in the implementation process, because there's always way too much to do in accounting. We've been doing this for a long time. So as a company, we've been helping law firms for 22 years. Ken and I, our team, we've been working in finance for much longer than we would like to admit. We have an amazing client list, and we would love to talk to you about making these things happen for your firm.
Yes, I'll just say we got a good look, right? We got a good look. We can always dive deeper, make things more tailored to your specific exceptions and needs. Appreciate you dialing in. Hopefully, it was time well spent. Worst case scenario, you get a really good chance of a drawing, right, on the sweepstakes. So hopefully a good 30-minute spit for that. But we would love to do a deeper dive with you at any point. If you're going to be at ILTA, let's do it there. We'll have a demo room set up. If you'd rather just do it online, which a lot of people prefer, or in person, just let us know and we'd be happy to help out.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you.